Acme. Acme.
The acme of perfection.
Acne. Acne.
Acolyte. Acolyte. Acolyte.
Acorn. Acoustic. Acoustic.
Acoustics. Acoustics.
Acquaint. Acquaint.
I need to acquaint myself with the new regulations.
You need to acquaint the police with the facts.
Acquaintance. Acquaintance.
She was a casual acquaintance of my family in Vienna.
He heard about the job through a mutual acquaintance.
They developed an acquaintance over the internet.
You can't judge her on such short acquaintance. My uncle did not improve on further acquaintance.
I should be delighted to make Mrs. McGow's acquaintance.
At the hotel, I made the acquaintance of a young American actor.
Acquaintance rape. Acquaintance rape.
Acquaintanceship. Acquaintanceship.
Acquaintanceship.
Sheridan had struck up an acquaintanceship with Giles. Sheridan had struck up an acquaintanceship with Giles.
Acquainted. Acquainted.
Were you acquainted with a friend of mine, Daniel Green?
We would like to get better acquainted.
She was well acquainted with classical literature.
Acquiesce. Acquiesce.
Oil companies have been accused of acquiescing in the pollution of the ocean.
Acquiescent. Acquiescent.
Acquire. Acquire.
Manning hoped to acquire valuable works of art as cheaply as possible.
The council acquired the land using a compulsory purchase order.
The college acquired a reputation for very high standards.
He spent years acquiring his skills as a surgeon.
Elsie acquired a good knowledge of Chinese.
She had acquired a taste for European beer.
Acquisition. Acquisition. The acquisition of language.
The acquisition of new sites for development.
The Art Society is holding an exhibition of recent acquisitions. The Art Society is holding an exhibition of recent acquisitions.
Acquisitive. Acquisitive.
Acquit. Acquit.
All the defendants were acquitted.
The judge directed the jury to acquit Phillips of the murder.
Acquittal. Acquittal. Acre. Acre. They own 200 acres of farmland.
A 200-acre wood.
Acreage. Acreage. Acrid. Acrid. A cloud of acrid smoke. Acrimonious.
The meeting ended in an acrimonious dispute.
Acrimony. Acrimony. Acrobat.
Acrobatic.
They performed some amazing acrobatic feats.
Acrobatics. Acrobatics.
Acronym. Acronym. Across. Across.
The first flight across the Atlantic.
They ran straight across the road.
We'll have to swim across.
We'd got halfway across before Philip realized he'd left his money at home.
We gazed across the valley.
There's Brendan. Why don't you go across and say hello?
The referee looked across at his linesman before awarding the penalty.
He walked across to where I was sitting.
A deep crack across the ceiling.
The only bridge across the river.
Do you think this shirt is too tight across the shoulders?
Someone's parked right across the entrance to the driveway.
My best friend lives across the road. He knew that just across the border lay freedom.
Across the street from where we're standing, you can see the old churchyard.
The woman sitting across from me on the train.
A TV series that became popular across 5 continents.
Teachers are expected to teach a range of subjects right across the curriculum.
The river is 2 kilometers across.
Across the board.
An across-the-board pay increase.
In July, everything we sell is reduced right across the board.
Acrostic. Acrostic.
Acrylic. Acrylics. Acrylics.
The ACT. Act. Act.
The new president's first act should be to end the war.
A thoughtless act.
An act of violence.
How many acts of kindness?
The act of writing a list can help to calm you down.
Lindsay paused in the act of putting down the phone.
The Housing and Community Development Act of 1977.
An Act of Parliament.
Mike played the loving husband in front of the children, but it was all an act.
Be natural. Don't feel you have to put on an act.
You need to get your act together if you're going to find the right house to buy. I arrived at the theatre late and missed the first act. The beginning of Act 3.
The argument was just part of their act.
The band is one of many acts that have been booked for the concert.
He has been a very successful captain and will be a hard act to follow.
Acrylics.
Acting. Acting. Action. Action.
The government must take action now to stop the rise in violent crime.
Environmental groups want tougher action on pollution from cars.
She was looking forward to putting her ideas into action.
Ambulance crews are ready to spring into action if anything goes wrong during the race.
Her prompt actions probably saved my life.
The child could not be held responsible for his actions.
The chief of police tried to justify his actions.
Photos of ski jumpers in action.
I'd like to see the new computer system in action.
The photocopier is out of action again.
The injury will keep him out of action for a month.
There have been reports of widespread enemy action in the area.
His father was killed in action in Vietnam.
530 servicemen were reported missing in action. The men were sent into action with little or no training.
He had seen action in Korea.
They are threatening to take legal action against the hospital.
The director faces disciplinary action.
The matter is now the subject of a court action.
The students agreed to drop their action.
The sisters brought a libel action against the newspaper.
There hasn't been much action around here for months.
New York is where all the action is.
Gibson became famous in action movies.
A TV action hero.
Most of the action takes place in San Francisco.
The action opens in a barber shop.
The action of the heart.
A smooth braking action.
The drug blocks the action of the cancer gene.
The action of alcohol on the liver.
The Child Poverty Action Group.
If you want a slice of the action, tickets may still be available.
Lights, camera, action.
Actionable. Actionable.
His remarks are actionable in my view.
Action-packed. Action-packed.
Action point. Action point.
Action replay. Action replay.
An action replay of the week we spent in Jamaica.
Action stations. Action stations.
Crew, return to action stations.
Activate. Activate.
Cooking fumes may activate the alarm.
The yeast's growth is activated by sugar and warmth.
Active. Active.
Games for active youngsters.
She's over 80 but is still very active.
My father always led a very active life.
A child with a very active imagination.
He became politically active at college.
The Bureau is active in promoting overseas investment.
Encourage students to take an active part in discussions.
She took an active interest in local charities. The importance of active participation by elderly people in the life of the community.
We're taking active steps to deal with the problem.
We maintain active links with other European universities.
He is an active member of the Labour Party.
The virus is active even at low temperatures.
Sexually active teenagers. The volcano became active last year with a series of eruptions.
Nicotine, the active ingredient in tobacco.
Actively. Actively.
Carol was actively involved in running the group. The school actively encourages students to do their best.
Active service. Active service.
Powell was declared unfit for active service.
More than 20,000 women are on active duty.
Activist. Activist.
Activist groups.
Activity. Activity. Everyone is free to engage in peaceful political activity.
Fundraising activities.
Regular physical activity helps to control your weight.
Leisure activities.
Outdoor activities such as hiking or climbing.
The office was suddenly full of frantic activity. The farm was always a hive of activity at this time of year.
Actor. Actor.
She has starred with many leading actors.
Actress. Actress.
Actual. Actual.
I'm not joking. Those were his actual words.
I know Germany won, but I can't tell you the actual score.
Interest is only charged on the actual amount borrowed. Interest is only charged on the actual amount borrowed. In actual fact, there is little evidence to support the allegations.
The programme starts at 8, but the actual film doesn't start until 8:30.
Actuality. Actuality.
The grim actualities of prison life.
In actuality, it's much more complex than that. In actuality, it's much more complex than that.
Actualize. Actualize.
Mistakes are a necessary part of actualizing your vision.
Actually. Actually.
I've known Barbara for years. Since we were babies, actually.
Actually, on second thoughts, I don't think I want to go out tonight.
What time are you actually leaving?
Labour costs have actually fallen.
Disappointed? No, actually, I'm rather glad.
Actuals. Actuals.
Mobile phone operators had expected monthly usage of up to 250 minutes. Actuals are very different, at 100 minutes.
Actuary. Actuary.
Actuate. Actuate.
He was actuated by violent jealousy.
Acuity. Acuity.
A motorist needs good visual acuity.
Acumen.
The firm's success is largely due to Brannon's commercial acumen.
Acupressure. Acupressure. Acupuncture. Acupuncture.
The 4 main acupuncture points.
Acute. Acute.
The housing shortage is more acute than first thought.
Acute pain.
Acute embarrassment.
Acute anxiety.
Acute arthritis.
Young children have a particularly acute sense of smell.
Simon's vague manner concealed an acute mind. Simon's vague manner concealed an acute mind.
An acute analysis of Middle Eastern politics.
Acutely. Acutely.
Students are becoming acutely aware that they need more than just paper qualifications. Acutely embarrassed.
AD.
The 1st century AD. 54 AD.
Add.
Add.
Adage. Adage.
The old adage that a picture is worth 1,000 words.
Adagio. Adagio.
Adam. Adam.
Adamant. Adamant.
She begged me to change my mind, but I remained adamant.
Madonna is adamant that she will not tour this year.
Britain is adamantly opposed to the new directive.
Adam's apple. Adam's apple.
Adapt. Adapt.
The children are finding it hard to adapt to the new school. Flowers, which are well adapted to harsh winters. The ability to adapt is a definite asset in this job. How do these insects adapt themselves to new environments? The car has been adapted to take unleaded gas. These teaching materials can be adapted for older children. Many children buy books after they have been adapted for television. She lives in a specially adapted flat.
Adaptable. Adaptable.
The American Constitution has proved adaptable in changing political conditions. The catfish is adaptable to a wide range of water conditions.
Adaptation. Adaptation.
The BBC adaptation of the best-selling book.
He's working on a screen adaptation of his latest novel. Adaptation to the environment.
Adapter. Adapter.
ADD.
Add. Add.
If the mixture seems dry, add water. Do you want to add your name to the list? Suzuki has added extra doors to its sports off-roader. Material about recent research has been added to this new edition. Add 7 and 5 to make 12. For tax purposes, your pension and earnings are added together.
Add £2.20 to the cost for postage.
Spell checking your document adds time to the process. Sales tax adds to the price. And I don't care what you think, she added defiantly.
Is there anything you'd like to add, David?
Everyone will be invited to vote, he said, adding that voting is likely to be via the web. I was refused accommodation, not, I hasten to add, on account of my appearance. She was trying to entertain us, unsuccessfully, I might add. We've added value to the information by organizing it.
Champagne always adds a touch of glamour to the occasion. Coloured glass can be added for effect.
Our hospitals are short of cash. Add to that the long hours doctors work, and you have a recipe for disaster. Recent research adds weight to the theory that climate is changing. She not only deceived him, but, to add insult to injury, allowed him to pay for her meal. Rather than providing a solution, their statements merely added fuel to the fire.
Don't forget to add in the cost of your time.
Proposals to add a penny on income tax. The private chapel was added on to the church much later. This show will no doubt add to his growing reputation. I can add up in my head quite easily. Specialized software adds up the statistics. He was troubled by a feeling that things just didn't add up. These figures don't add up. There are 5 of us using the phone, so it all adds up. Rising prison population and overcrowding add up to a real crisis.
The Addams family. The Addams family.
Added. Added. Cereal with added vitamins. No added sugar. The system has the added advantage of recordable DVD drives. Include people in your picture for added interest. Our yard is only small and has the added disadvantage of facing north.
It may not be necessary to go to the added expense of updating your antivirus software.
Addendum. Addendum.
An addendum to Section 4. Adder. Adder.
Addict. Addict.
A recovering heroin addict. My nephew is a complete video game addict.
Addicted. Addicted.
50 million Americans are addicted to nicotine.
Kids addicted to surfing the net.
Addiction. Addiction.
Addiction to alcohol.
Addictive. Addictive.
Tobacco is highly addictive. It started as a hobby, but it got so addictive I had to keep on doing it. Addictive arcade games. Addictive arcade games.
Addition. Addition.
The company provides cheap internet access. In addition, it makes shareware freely available. In addition to his movie work, Redford is known as a champion of environmental causes. The addition of networking facilities will greatly enhance the system. Turn sparkling wine into Bucks Fizz with the addition of chilled orange juice. This excellent book will be a welcome addition to the library of any student. The latest addition to our designer range. They built a big addition onto the back of the house.
Additional. Additional.
Additional information can be obtained from the center.
An additional charge is made on baggage exceeding the weight allowance.
Additionally. Additionally.
A new contract is in place. Additionally, staff will be offered a bonus scheme.
Additive. Additive.
Permitted food additives. Our products are free from artificial additives.
Addle. Addle.
All that drink has addled his brains.
Add-on. Add-on.
We bought legal protection as an add-on to our home insurance policy. An add-on circuit board.
Address. Address.
What's your new address? I can give you the address of a good attorney.
They have changed the address of their website.
An address to the European Parliament. The new president delivered his inaugural address in Creole.
Address.
That letter was addressed to me. Send a stamped, self-addressed envelope. Our products address the needs of real users. Marlowe now addressed himself to the task of searching the room. She turned to address the man on her left. You will have to address your comments to our head office. He addressed an audience of 10,000 supporters. The president should be addressed as Mr. President.
Addressee. Addressee. Adduce. Adduce.
Adenoidal. Adenoidal.
Her adenoidal singing voice.
Adenoids. Adenoids.
Adept. Adept.
Melissa quickly became adept at predicting his moods. Silas proved adept in the art of avoiding potholes in the road. I'm afraid she's also an adept liar. A form of kung fu practiced by only a handful of adepts.
Adequate. Adequate.
Farmers have been slow to make adequate provision for their retirement. Some creams we tested failed to give adequate protection against UV light. The standard of his work is barely adequate. The company has yet to provide an adequate explanation for its actions. Are the parking facilities adequate for 50 cars? The lunchtime menu is more than adequate to satisfy the biggest appetite. Her performance was adequate, but lacked originality.
Adequately. Adequately.
Students need to be adequately prepared for the world of work.
She wasn't adequately insured.
ADHD. ADHD.
Adhere. Adhere.
The eggs of these fish adhere to plant leaves. We adhere to the principles of equal rights and freedom of expression for all. I have adhered strictly to the rules.
Adherence. Adherence.
Adherence to democratic principles. Strict adherence to Judaic law.
Adherent. Adherent.
Adherents of the Greek Orthodox Church. The anti-globalization movement is attracting new adherents to its principles.
Adhesion. Adhesion.
Adhesive. Adhesive.
Waterproof adhesive.
Adhesive tape.
Ad hoc. Ad hoc.
Decisions made on an ad hoc basis.
Adieu.
Adieu. Adieu. He bid her adieu.
Ad infinitum. Ad infinitum.
Ad infinitum. Ad infinitum.
I have to explain A, then B, and C, and so on ad infinitum.
Adios.
Adios.
Adjacent. Adjacent.
We stayed in adjacent rooms. The building adjacent to the library.
Adjective. Adjective.